I believe that writers who become directors so that they can defend their material are just doomed from the start, because by definition they are going to be so precious with it that they will never let it breathe. And the job when you go to actually make the movie is to beat the page. That's the whole point of making the movie. It's not a staged reading of your brilliant screenplay. You're trying to find what's living between those words, which means you have to be open to better ideas, and you have to, in some senses, put away that moviola that's been running in your head for 6 years, which doesn't mean that your ideas may not ultimately be vindicated as the best ideas. Often they are. But you have to be open to the talent around you that you've drawn in, and be open to the idea that they may come with something that you hadn't considered that's just frankly better. And if you can do that, then I think you are fully accessing the writer part of you that got you that job, and fully honoring the craft of directing, which you're aspiring to. Mm-hmm. I think that's real important.
I see in your work a kind of interest in money and guilt about money and status and so forth, and guilty. You know, yeah. I see you kind of exploring that. Do you know? Are you done with that, or is that kind of like I'm interested in that?
No, okay. I'm not done with anything.
Good, because I love to see this exploration.
Yeah, and it comes out in different ways. Like different obsessions the characters have. I'm very much a person of this world. You know, I'm not writing up here. I'm writing about so and so's dying, but I also want these pants. You know, and
yeah, exactly. It's all in there.
The pants because they're dying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah, and I'm not done with it at all. I sometimes think after I have explored something so thoroughly in a movie, like the thing I'm writing now, I'm trying to come up with an occupation for the character, and it's like, she works in a furniture store. It's like, oh, I did that. It's like, can I really,
Mammogram was good.
Yeah, I'm not doing that again. But yeah, I'm not through.
That's something that's been really inspiring to me in Nicole's work, was sort of this idea. There was always sort of this feeling I had that some of the issues that affect our lives the most, like our greed or our desire to own all the things, or our desperation to get to the grocery store and get our favorites, whatever, was like somehow unseemly to talk about. And being able to see films that explored that in a conscious way, and treated those issues like any issue that affects us every day isn't superficial. And so that was...
They're the most fascinating to me.
Absolutely.
How people won't say what they make, or what they spend on their house. There's so much shame. I mean, there's just a host of entertaining things you can pull out of that stuff.
So we've got sex and money kind of covered here.
Yeah.
I'm always in the position of assuming the worst about anyone who's going to read anything that I write, and I'm very rarely disappointed. So a long-winded way of saying whether I'm going to direct it or not is almost immaterial in terms of what's going to be on the page. I bust my ass on stage direction. I think it's the thing that I spend the most time on as a script is getting close to the finish line, because I'm always trying to calibrate that balance between over-explaining and explaining enough. You have to remember that there are two movies. There's the one that you sell, and then there's the one you actually go to make. And until they've greenlit that movie, it's the one you're selling. And you need to make sure that everyone who reads it, whether they're reading 8 scripts that weekend or not, they get it. And that yours goes to the top of that list, and something has spoken to them. Some emotional journey has become really clear to them. And they've come up with a reason why they should invest in you and in it. Once that's done, you can pare a lot of that stuff out. And then go on that journey of discovery with every single audition, that you sit through, where you're learning as you go, and you don't want to over-explain, because you're going to lock somebody into some performance that may be canned and horrible. But you have to I guess what I'm saying is you have to recognize these are all different steps in the process, and the script is going to evolve. You have to allow for that.
I don't know, I hate myself so much when I'm procrastinating that I know I'll feel so much better about myself if I write something, even if it's terrible. And I tell myself, I'm going to write something really bad. And I'm going to write some really stupid ideas down today. But I've written them, and maybe they're not even that stupid. Sometimes I can get inspired if there's no pressure. But I know it makes me so depressed when I'm not writing that gets me to do it. So you have to really like loathe yourself enough.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's my thing too. And there's so many things that I do when I say, like, there's, I'll tell all my friends, I'm always like, I'm writing, I can't come out of the house, I'm writing. And it's like, 12 hours a day when I can't come out of the house, I'm writing. Like 4 of those, I'm like dancing, eating snacks, calling people
Sleeping.
in other countries, I'm really into inappropriate naps at times. And then my mom will call and be like, how dare you, I'm writing. Like that kind of, but it's just this thing where it's what Nicole said, where if I'm not getting it done, my feelings of self-loathing are so great that I wouldn't possibly be able to enjoy any of I can't even enjoy snacks, boys, friends. I just can't. And then and I have a lot of mind games that I play with myself, like, if you eat these M&Ms and then you don't finish this, you are a whore. That's all I have.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
I had been writing in the studio system for, 15 years when I got a chance to direct for the first time, which was a little movie called Shattered Glass with, a tiny little budget and a 28-day schedule. And, when you're making a movie like that, it is totally terrifying and totally exhilarating at the same time. And you feel like you're on a train track and there's this locomotive behind you, and you just keep running and hope that it runs out of steam before you do. But what you notice, because it's an independent film, everyone around you is just working their tail off for you. And all they care about is the quality of the movie. And you are surrounded by all these artists and all these craftsmen. None of them are getting paid a lot of money, and they know you're not getting paid a lot of money. It's just about the work. And that's my indie film moment, There's a purity to it that is just indescribable and totally inspiring.
I come out to panels and people ask me, and I was just really excited by the possibility of being on a panel with so many people I admire. I'm a huge Nicole Hollow Center fan. I have been for as long as she's been making movies, and so just the opportunity to talk to her, hear some of her insights about her process, that's huge, and all of the panelists are amazing. For me, it's just, I'm always just hoping to learn something more about my craft. If I can illuminate anything for anyone else, that's great, but I never expect that. More just do metaphor. It's like it forces me to think about what I do in a kind of more serious way, and that's really satisfying.
I can't imagine not making independent movies, so I'm really glad a place like this exists and does support people like myself who want to write stories that, won't play at the AMC and Landmark too. I love this theater. It also gives me personally an opportunity to meet a lot of aspiring filmmakers. I've mentored some of them, and it's really nice, to support people. It means so much to them. I know it meant so much to me when I was nowhere, and somebody, fancy talked to me or gave me good advice. It was everything to me. And this kind of organization, I hope, perpetuates that kind of support, and I'm all behind it.